All right, that's much better. Perfect. Hi, Facebook. All right, so I think we have all of um, all the things here. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Kiana. Thanks for joining. Okay, so I think we are ready to get started. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. So today I'm talking about a topic that I feel a lot of coaches and consultants secretly, or maybe not so secretly, hate sales calls. So I'll be the first to admit that I hated them. And that's part of the reason why I don't actually do them anymore. But there is a way for you to become good at them and not feel icky or salesy. So you may be like, well, why are you talking about them if you don't like them? Well, it's because as a business coach, some of my clients prefer to do business this way. And my program also covers ways to be successful at sales calls because, again, there's more than one method to obtain clients, right? So if I can provide you with several techniques, you can choose what works best for you ultimately. So when I was learning sales, hey, when I was learning sales, we learned several closing techniques, and this is like when I was like first learning like different sales methods. Like when I used to do door to door sales, like my first job. So we learned several techniques, and we had to practice all of them, right? So it wasn't like we get to choose our favorite technique and that's the one we get to do. But I had to practice all of them, and even the ones that I hated, right? And so we also had to be able to teach all of them. And while I hated this exercise, I am truly appreciative of my sales trainer because it taught me a valuable lesson in teaching and in leadership. So I was able to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of my team members, point out which techniques that I felt came naturally to them and which ones I thought I was like, maybe you should only use these situationally, right? And that was the key. So while I don't do sales calls often, there are times in my business when it's called for. And that's important to know when, right? So some people, they prefer sales calls. Hey there. Um, they prefer sales calls and or they don't know that there's another way actually to get clients. But what I want to talk about today is actually the difference between sales calls and discovery calls and how to really set yourself up for success if you choose to use this method. Okay, so first let's talk about the difference between sales calls and discovery calls. People name stuff all types of different things: sales calls, discovery calls, clarity calls. um, I think I've even seen like spiritual coaches use like an intuitive call, like just a lot of different things, right? People use these terms interchangeably. Whatever you want to call it, a sales call is a sales call. Okay, so if you're hopping on the phone with a potential client, pitching them and hoping to close them, aka make a sale, then you are on a sales call. You are selling something, right? A discovery call is exactly what it sounds like. And for my consultants who are in that part of the industry, there's something that's a little bit different, right? So if you are attempting to discover things about your client, get more information, assess where they are, will it be a good fit? What product or service would suit them best based upon your conversation? You are kind of there to assess and make a recommendation. So that's like a discovery call. And like I said, in the consulting industry, that's even a little bit more different where you're trying to determine what the consulting engagement will look like. But that's a whole other live. So, but essentially, a discovery call is you're trying to assess where your client is and make the best recommendations for what you might have in your product suite that's going to best help them, or determine if it's a good fit to work together. So, can a discovery call turn into a sales call? Yes, but that's not the intent of the call, right? So, let's talk about some common mistakes I see when it comes to sales calls. You're pitching your potential client cold. They don't know who you are, what your offer is about, and you get on a call to sell your program. That's like asking someone to marry you on the first date. Hated it. Like don't don't do that. Like if someone asked me to marry them on the first date, I'm like, this person is crazy. I think I'm going to run not walk the other way, right? So pitching people call on a sales call, I know that it happens, but to me, that's just not the best way to do business. Number two, you didn't qualify the client before getting on the phone. So maybe you've had some dialogue, but you didn't ask enough questions to even see if that's something that they were even interested in. Number three, you didn't build a relationship. So you just had some small talk like, hey, how are you? And then was like, let's just hop on a call. Number four, you don't have a strong follow-up process in place. So you have a call, the person says no, or they will think about it, and then you never follow up. Fortune is in the follow-up. Just because someone says no doesn't mean it's a no forever. Number five, you talk more than you listen. So you don't listen for cues to know if your program actually can solve their pain points and where they are in the decision making process. Like that's important. You can get a feel for where people are by just listening and having a conversation. And also if your program can really help them. Number six, you are trying to strong arm people. Definitely a no no. Number seven, your process is impersonal. It's robotic, or you have like, and I've seen coaches have sellers for them. Like they'll have VAs sell, which to me is kind of impersonal, but I understand you have to expand your team. But to me, that's kind of an impersonal way to sell your program, especially a high ticket offer. Number eight, your offer and your structure isn't clear and it doesn't match the experience you provided so far. This is kind of like what I would call like a bait and switch. So, meaning you are positioning and portraying yourself as one way. So, like this high ticket coach, you have all this connection with these people, and then when they get on the phone to buy the product, it's your VA, like giving you all the details. I feel like that doesn't match. I don't know. The other way is like, so you're portraying yourself as this big high ticket coach, right? Like, and then they get on there and it's like this. It's like a, a low ticket experience, I would say. Or you think that it's going to be like this high ticket price and they get on the phone, it's like 197. It's like, well, why did you get me on the phone just to charge me 197? Like it just doesn't match, and vice versa, right? So, people, they just don't understand what they're getting. That process is not cohesive. Number nine, your content is not talking about your offer, and it's not doing the selling for you. So you don't talk about your offer and your content. So people get on the phone with you, they're confused. They don't know like what you do, what it's about, right? That's the whole point of creating content. Number 10, you look like you don't want to be there. So you are literally giving lackluster energy, or you're so nervous, you're talking so fast, it's just like the energy is off. And so the person, they start to become uncomfortable. There is a thing in sales called mirroring. And so people will mirror you. So if you talk fast, they'll talk fast. If you talk slow, they'll talk slow. If your energy is low, their energy is going to be low. If you slouch, they'll slouch. Like that's just how it happens and that's how it works. But like, you don't want to be giving off that energy. Like you don't want to be on the call, right? Be excited to talk to potential clients. And this is you, or you've done these things. It's okay. We've all been there. But the important thing is to fix your processes so that this doesn't keep happening to you. Okay. I think Leslie had a question. You said even connection calls. Leslie, what do you mean by that? Like, do you mean our connection calls sales calls, or what do you mean? I don't know if I understand the question. Because like, to me, a connection call would be a very short call just to kind of get to know the person. And so like I said, there's all these different names for different types of calls. Like connection call, to get to know the person, what they do, and see if they would be like if we could even work together or help each other. I honestly would call a connection call somebody that I would be collaborating with versus a client. So that to me is where I would personally differentiate. But if you could give me more detail. Oh, you said no, I was responding to what you said, that people are naming their calls. Oh yes, okay, yes, yeah. Connection calls is another thing that people are naming. Yeah, for sure. So there's like so many different things that I've seen out here. Okay, so now let's move on to discovery calls. So common mistakes that I see for discovery calls is treating it like a sales call. That's the number one mistake. Is you're treating a discovery call like a sales call, and that's not what it is. You're also, number two, you're not asking deep enough questions to discern where your clients are. That's the point of a discovery call. You're trying to discover things about your client, where they are. Number three, you're focusing on money versus whether or not that person's a good fit to work with. So you're thinking about, I need to get this sale versus, is this person really an ideal client that's going to get the most out of my program? Number four, the call is too long. Like you're making discovery calls like an hour, like you're talking, like the calls don't have to be that long for you to be able to discern like where someone is. Also, that like blocks up your calendar. What like too. So I think this like discovery calls, 15 minutes, 30 minutes max if you're a long-winded person. But I would just say you definitely need to try and shorten that. I think 15 minutes, because ultimately what you're trying to do is determine where they are and give them some guidance within your product suite of where they should start. That's all it is. Um, Number five is not asking the right questions, right? So like if a discovery call, this is the first time, like maybe someone comes to your website or whatever, and they don't know what to choose. Like that would be when they, to me, when they book a call to figure out what route should they go. You know what I mean? So but you should be asking, well, what are your goals? Why did you reach out? What's your business model like? Or if it's business related, or maybe there's another, whatever niche you are coaching under, right? So mm, let's take mindset, right? So you're asking that person what their goals are, where they feel like that they're stuck. Maybe I always ask, why did you reach out? Because I think that's a valid thing. Like, what made you contact me? That's something that tells me like what I also gives you feedback on your own marketing, so to speak. What spoke to them? And then you can kind of figure out, is this my ideal client or no? You know what I mean? So definitely a lot of questions that you can ask that give you more information that help you really determine, like, number one, is your marketing working? Number two, is this person a good fit to work with? So the point of these calls is really determine, like I said, where your client is and if you can actually help them. And if you can, great. If you can't, be upfront and honest about it. Okay. Don't be afraid to say you don't do something or that's not in your wheelhouse. Coaches really get in trouble when they try to customize offers on the fly just to get a client. You also, to me, are devaluing your own product suite when you do that. So I'll give you guys a tangible example for myself. People ask me all the time if I will create their social media content. The answer is no. I am not going to, like, that's not something that I do. I do teach you how to create your own content, meaning like I teach you how to come up with content. I teach you how to find your content pillars, all those things. If you don't want, like, so once you find it and once you have your content strategy down, you can hire someone to do your content for you. But I'm not going, like, I don't do like done for you. Like, I'm not going to do that for you in my coaching program. I teach you how to fish, right? So you can go fish for yourself. If you decide to like outsource that in your business, that would be up to you. But I feel like you should know how to do it, because again, I talked about this, I think last week or the week before, about like hiring professionals out of sequence. If you don't know what your offer is, you don't have any type of a strategy, how are you going to tell someone who's creating content for you what to create? Like, you have to give them that direction. Like, sure, you can hire somebody to create content for you. They'll literally create anything that looks nice, probably. But is it going to actually bring you clients? Not unless you have a strategy behind it, not unless it's pointing people to your offer, not unless you even know what you're offering. Hopefully, I'm making sense with that. So, like, it doesn't make sense for you to hire someone to do your social media if you don't have a strategy behind it. It just doesn't. So, things to think about. Um, so remember, you can't solve all of your clients' problems, nor should you try. Okay, so don't try to solve all of your clients' problems, because you can't. That's the honest truth. So how can we set ourselves up for success with either one? Hey there, hey guys, thanks for joining. How can we set ourselves up for success whether we do sales calls or discovery calls or both? The first one is have a clear and well-defined offer. Okay. You should have a clear and well-defined offer before you start doing this. Number two, I'm a fan of having a screening process in place, especially for high ticket. you cannot work with everyone, right? And what I found is that people will schedule calls with you, even like for your low ticket offers, to ask questions, and it's kind of like the information was there. That's not something that you would schedule a call with me about, right? So limited space screening process to determine if this person is a good fit. Number 3, your content should actually speak to your offer, right? And the transformation you provide. So if that's not circulating in your content, you need to make sure that it's in there so that people will understand what it is that you do and how you can help them. Number 4, be clear about the intentions of the call up front. So a lot of mistakes that I see here is that people their scripting is off when it comes to sales and a sales call or discovery call. And yes, I mean, let's be honest, most coaches they bought a script from somebody in order to be able to have a sales call. Everybody uses scripts. Now, do you make it sound like a script? No, but you should definitely have like an outline or something or flow of your call, right? If you get on there and you wing it, that means that there's no structure. And also, you need to set proper expectations up front. So if it's a sales call, then you need to be saying at the end, I'm going to be telling you how you can work closely with me if that's okay. Or like basically, you need to let them know you're going to be talking about your offer. Don't make it a surprise. With discovery, you can say, hey, this is not a sales call. This is for me to do XYZ. Let them know what that is, right? Number 5, don't try to what I call hard close people. It's an old sales term, hard close, when you put them in a headlock to try and get them to sign up for your program. Do not do that, right? That's a number 1 way to kill the sale. Number 6, let the call be conversational rather than, let the call be a conversation rather than a dictation, right? So make it more conversational so that you and your clients are having a dialogue versus you just talking at them. To me, that's like, nobody wants to like go to a lecture, right? Like, don't make it a conversation. You also can get more information about your potential client. Number 7, be a detective rather than a salesperson, right? You're trying to find out things, like really find out what your client is saying, but really most importantly, what they're not saying to you. I think that's even more important on a sales or discovery call than what they actually say. Most of the time, our ideal client's problems is what lies beneath the surface than what's actually on the surface. That's what they think their problem is. But we as coaches know, like, what the real problem is something they maybe can't articulate or haven't necessarily gained that awareness yet. Number 8, be honest about what you can and cannot do. So if someone mentions they want someone, like I literally had someone ask me or tell me they don't want to do anything in their business. They just want to hire people. And I'm like, well, I can help you with that, but first you got to learn how to do it. If you're not willing to learn how to do it, this isn't the program for you. Point blank, period. Like, I'm not here to teach, like, I'm here to teach you how to do things. And that's your mindset. I'm not the right coach for you. It was just that simple. It's like, nope, that's not what I do. And ultimately, too, you're not making enough money to hire people. So it's kind of like that's counterintuitive to me. So if I'm not in alignment with that potential client, we're not going to work together. That's it, right? Number 9, don't coach on the sales call, on the discovery call. I know it may seem like, what? Yeah, no, don't coach. Make recommendations back to your offers. Which one is a good fit? I know as coaches, we always want to coach, but do not coach on the sales or discovery call, right? That's not what the call is for. It's not a coaching call, okay? Make recommendations back to your offers. And number 10, follow up. For the love of God, follow up with people, okay? Like, you have to do that. I know it's like, oh, they said no, or, they said they had to think about it. So you just kind of like let it go. Like, no, you have to follow up, right? Again, remember my thing. I always say it takes 6 to 8 times for someone to make a purchasing decision. And if they haven't been exposed to your brand that many times and you got them on a call, they were trying to figure out maybe if they can afford to work with you, or like, you know what I mean? Like, people want to get information so they know what they're walking into. So don't just take that as oh, well, write them off, So, and just checking in for questions, You said we must know. Leslie says we must know how we want things to run in our business in order to source it out to someone else. That's true. You have to. I know a lot of people who think that they're going to, turnkey, have all these people doing all these things. And it's kind of like, if you don't have the revenue to support that, you're not going to be able to do that. Number one. Number two, how are you going to train people if you yourself haven't gone through the process? It doesn't work that way. So you're welcome. So I said in the beginning that I really don't do sales calls anymore because it no longer fits in my business model or really my sales style. So I do discovery calls to really determine if it's a good fit to work with that person. I don't twist people's arms. I don't try to oversell things. I just know that what I do works and gets results, right? But coaches and consultants ultimately have to be serious if they're going to work with me and put in the work. So if you're not ready to invest in yourself and in your business, then that's really on you. And you will have to evaluate the cost of not investing and the cost of continuing to do the same things and getting little to no results. That's kind of where I leave things. What I've learned is that either people want something different or they don't. They will make it happen or they won't. And that goes with anything, right? Any niche, right? If you choose not to move forward, then you are happy with the way things are. You choose not to move forward, you are happy with the way things are. And if you aren't, then it will be up to you to do something different and make a change. It's just that simple. So believe me, like I said, this goes for really any niche, coaching, consulting. When someone tells you that they can find it cheaper or they will find the answer on the internet, there is no need to argue. Don't argue with that because that's the reason you're doing what you're doing, essentially, right? And just it wasn't meant to be, or that person has another lesson to learn and they'll be back around. There's no need to argue with that statement. I don't argue with it. I just like, okay. And like that tells me that person is not ready to move forward. They have not reached that place where they're tired of trying to build their business off of freebies and low cost courses, right? So, as I've said before, everyone won't be ready to and able to invest, and that's okay. That's why how your offers are structured is so important, right? It's so important. Why your program actually needs to get results. Why you need to be serious about your processes and your client experience. Why this is why coaching curriculum matters and what you're actually doing inside your coaching program matters, right? So, whether you choose to do sales or discovery calls or you choose to do both, that's a business decision. Okay. If that feels aligned in your business and you've integrated that into your sales process, do what works for you. But if it's not working, it may be time for some changes. Okay. So, let me see. Do we have any questions? Any questions? Oh, Leslie said, girl, I was the girl that thought I could learn everything I needed to know and I wasted so much time. Finally, I got coaching, and it was the best decision of my life. Well, I'm glad that you came to that conclusion, Leslie. And you said you love the discovery call process. Yes, I like the discovery call process as well. Sales calls, just in my opinion, they're not in alignment with my business model. And also, too, guys, I have 4 businesses. I don't have time to do sales calls all day. So it was not time efficient for me to do my business that way. Some people, they have an open calendar, they can do that, and eventually they have people that do that for them. But I don't like that. That's not in alignment with what I want to do in my business. So I'm not going to set my business up that way. All right, guys, let's recap really quickly how to set yourself up for success if you are going to do sales calls, discovery calls, or both. The first one is going to be have a clear and well-defined offer. The second, have a screening process in place, especially for high ticket. The third, your content should actually speak to your offer and the transformation that it provides. The fourth, be clear about the intentions of the call up front. Don't tell people what you're going to do at the end of the call. Say that up front. Number 5, don't try to hard close people. 6, let the call be a conversation rather than a dictation. Number 7, be a detective rather than a salesperson. Number 8, be honest about what you can and cannot do. Okay. Please do not skip this step. Okay. Be honest about what you can and cannot do. Number 9, don't coach on the call. Make recommendations back to your offers. Okay. Which one would be a good fit for them? And number 10, follow up. Follow up. So hopefully that has been helpful for you all. Please let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to drop those into the chat. But in my program, in the Brand Builder Blueprint, we focus on the business strategy for your coaching or your consulting business, crafting your offers, what the sales process actually looks like in your business so that you have a logical progression between your offerings, and it helps position you as the go-to coach in your industry and helps you consistently to enroll clients in your program, which creates that sustainable and predictable income for you. Okay. So if you're ready to take your coaching and consulting business to the next level by attracting your ideal client, creating that signature offer, your high ticket offer, as well as the offers in your lower tiers, launching those to your audience and earning income that's going to replace your 9 to 5, your freelance or your one-to-one business. And you want to click the link in my bio. If you're watching me on Instagram, it's the very first link for the Brand Builder Blueprint application. If you're watching me on Facebook, then it's going to be in the description of this live. Click the application. I'll send you some more information, and if need be, we will have a quick chat. So I'm just checking to see. Hello there. If there's any more questions, any questions, guys, any comments, anybody have questions about sales or discovery calls? You said what was number 2 again? Leslie says, what was number 2? Number 2 was have a screening process in place, especially for high ticket. Okay. You cannot work with everyone, nor should you. So I definitely think for your high ticket program, you need to have a screen. That's why I have an application process for my high ticket program. Because I want to make sure that you're going to be a good fit. Like it's on, like you actually want to, like it doesn't make sense for someone to apply to my program, like if they're not interested in like coaching or consulting or like doing coaching online or creating digital products and or courses. Like if you want to do something else, it doesn't make sense to sign up to work with me. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Leslie. So yeah, I mean, I do actually have people, and that's the reason I have people that actually just want to work with me, like period. And so I tell them that this particular program isn't for them. That would be a completely different offer. But yeah, so I do have that happen, which is why I do the application process. So that people understand. They know like this is not what we're going to be doing in this program. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Anything else? Alrighty. I think that is it. I appreciate you all for tuning in. And as always, if you have any other questions or think of anything, please always feel free to reach out to me. I'm on Facebook at iSimplyShe or Instagram at I_simply_she. Also, I'm at Crystal Renee on all handles. So my DMs are open. Please feel free to reach out if you need anything. And I will see you guys back here live on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Take care and have a great rest of your day.